y'all. Let's try this again. You guys bear with me because this is the first time I'm trying live on YouTube, and those of you guys who know, I'm mad booty at this game, this social media game, so I'm still learning all this new software stuff. So if there's any glitches, please throw it in the chat. Let's see. Cool. All right. So, guys, we're going to be talking about how can Israel Adesanya improve from here. So he is now on 4 losses and pretty decisive losses. Now, if you guys have watched the past 2 studies I've made on 2, maybe 3 studies I've made just criticizing Izzy's game, these issues have been long-standing issues. Now, there's certain things that you just can't change. You can't make Izzy 5'3" and have him be able to formulate a game that's a short man's game, that he can play on the inside a little better, things like that. He is pretty much going to have that same DNA, but you can train different reactions and try to train him away from reacting in certain ways that are a little bit harmful to him, and ways that people have figured out. Now, what do I mean by that? Izzy has a very dangerous habit, and I say dangerous habit because people have started to pick up on it. Now, by the way, as always, you guys tap in. If you have any questions, throw it in the chat. Those of you guys who are familiar with the IG lives, you know what time it is. I use all of my lives as Q&As. And again, this is my first one on the YouTube channel. So you guys bear with me because I'm still kind of learning all the software. Now, the biggest thing is training Izzy out of an immediate reaction of pulling straight back. And guys, this is very common amongst guys who come from a rangier kickboxing type game. You see, they generally tend to want to have defenses that get them further away from their opponent. Now, this did very well for Izzy when he was in Glory Kickboxing. Why? Because of the rule set of Glory Kickboxing. Well, I would actually argue that Jason Wilness in Glory Kickboxing versus Izzy exposed the very beginnings of what we wound up seeing guys like Gastelum, guys like DDP, guys like Sean Strickland exposed later on in Izzy's career. Now, the only thing is, though, in Glory Kickboxing, if I'm playing this long, rangy game on you and you crash in and get too close to me, you know what I have to do? All I have to do is I'm just going to wrap you up. And then I just wait for the ref to separate us. And now look, I'm right back to my rangy game. So Glory Kickboxing was actually the perfect rule set for someone with Izzy's style because it allowed very little of that inside or mid-range fighting that Izzy is not as good at. Case in point, if you guys have not watched this past weekend with Joe Pyfer, watch the last 15, 20, 25 seconds towards the end of the fight, right before Izzy wound up getting taken down. Izzy tried to play a little bit of that boxing range, and he was getting pieced up. By no means would I consider Joe an Olympic-level boxer. He has good hands, but by no means is it Olympic level, and Izzy is getting washed on the inside. So the biggest thing is, if you are in the UFC and clinch is a go, the ground game is a go, takedowns are a go, and if you try to wrap someone up when your back hits the cage, the ref is not there to save you, you then have to do one of two things. One, you have to get really good at staying off of that cage so they can't pressure you and take away your backwards options. So a lot more circling, but most importantly is your head cannot be in a straight back trajectory. You can't do that. Why? One, you're super tall, okay? If I'm here in this hunched down fight stance and then I get tall, a good guy is just going to start to bang to the body. You have all that torso that you're now presenting them with. And by the way, if you guys haven't watched the long form study on Joe Pyfer versus Izzy, I've clipped a free version on here on YouTube, but obviously because of copyright reasons, I have to put most of it on the Patreon. Again, there's an extended free version on the Patreon that shows a couple of the UFC segments. Obviously, the full version I keep for the paid members. But if you guys haven't peeped that, look at the system that Joe created to deal with this exact habit of Izzy's. So look, up until now, if you guys are just joining, we've talked about this. We've talked about how Izzy has to address the pullback, okay? Another thing that Izzy has to address, and by the way, I'm not saying he has to completely take this out of his game, but he has to address this immediate long guard reaction. The reason why is if I know dang near everything I do, you're going to put up that long guard and you're going to have that lead arm extended out, it's really easy to take advantage of that. Shouts to Nasruddin Imavov. What did he do? As soon as that hand started to extend, I'm just going to pull it down. And once you have pulled down a long guarder's arm, especially when they have so much faith in that arm being the distance-making tool between the two of you, chances are, especially if you hit on the half beat. So the half beat is not 1, 2, but 1, 2. If you can hit on the half beat, meaning, by the way, a half beat does not always have to be an actual combination or a positive. A positive, again, if you guys are on the Patreon, I think it's actually linked in the description below. There's a ton of free stuff on there, but forgive me, I can't remember exactly which study I talk about it with. By the way, again, tap in, comment. If everything is coming out well, again, this is my first live on YouTube, guys. So please bear with me. I appreciate y'all's patience. I'm still kind of figuring out how to work this new tech. However, hitting on the half beat does not have to be a combination. It doesn't have to be positive. It can, and forgive me guys if there's background noise, because my mic is going to pick up a lot. However, it can also be a negative and a positive. What do I mean by that? Instead of a 1, 2, you can glove pull down and 2. It does not always have to be a full combination. So for example, much of what we see on social media is here's 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, 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 right? Here's how to set the body shot up with the right hip, whatever. But in real time, against high-level opposition, we are HTX MMA, the stream audios. Salute, bro. Thank you so much, dude. Real talk, like, you a lifesaver, because if I'm being real, I had no idea if anybody was hearing me. So, salute. Use the real one, son. If you ever pull up to Greenville, HTX MMA, holler at me. I'm gonna get you a beer, son. Real talk. Good looking out. So, now, a half beat combination can be, instead of 1, 2, glove pull down 2. A half beat combination can be level change 2. Okay, so instead of going 1, 1, 2, I can go pop here, right? So as soon as my glove drops, that right hand is coming in. And this is how we really start screwing with people's defenses, guys, right? Now, how does this relate to Izzy? When you know dang near, and by the way, I hope y'all seen at this point, I think I have now done 3 studies on Izzy. Again, the full versions are on the Patreon linked in the description below. I hope y'all know at this point, Richard IK7CU, the stream quality is good. Is as good as your video. Okay, bet. Good looks, bro. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. You got a beer on me too. If y'all pull up to Greenville, come holler at me. So, thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Now, a guy like Izzy, who, and again, listen, y'all. This is no disrespect. I know I don't like to get on these personal topics or whatever. I don't mean this disrespectfully to Izzy, but yo, you got to do something, son. You 4 L's deep, bro. You have to do something. You can't carry on with the same thing. And look, I say this in the type of way I actually kind of want to see Izzy do something and handle business in his next one. But you got to address, if you put all that faith in that long guard and someone just pulls that long guard down, wow, it's going to be an easy night for him. So how do you address that? First off, let me preface by saying, anybody that says that you can't do certain things because of the rule set of a sport, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, why am I saying that? Here's an easy option for Izzy, y'all. Like a super easy option. You mad tall, bro. Use that. And I don't mean just use that in doing this. Because at this point, you 4 L's deep, bro. Everyone knows that you're about to do this. But, and again, this is why I did that preface of don't worry about what sport it is or whatever, right? As long as you understand the risks of everything you're doing, you can do whatever you want, okay? Now, here's what is a super simple follow-up option. I'm Izzy. Y'all come at me. I long guard. You pull my long guard down and I'm already in this pulled back posture. I'm going to just ops. Ops position. That's it, okay? Forgive me if you don't know about the ops position. I'm almost 100% positive there's a free version clipped of the Nicolino Loce ops position study. Nicolino Loce ops position study. I'm almost 100% positive. Please, by the way, guys, if you guys go to that link and you go to the Patreon library and you see an ops position study and there's not a free version, please send me a DM. I will clip a free version. I hate saying something and then it's not what I said it is and I make y'all waste your time. I will clip a free version and I will send it to you guys, so please holler at me. But the ops position is an excellent second step. Because look, is he 36, 37 years old? Okay. Let's take worst case scenario. Maybe you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Okay. Maybe you can't train this pull out of Izzy. You can give him a place to go from the pull. So if Izzy pulls and they get that lead arm down and a straight shot is coming, if he can ops out of it. Ops is not a slip, by the way. Okay? So this is why that study is so important. The ops is not a slip. Okay? The ops position is an excellent second place because Izzy already has the height, and you know they're going to try to hunt on that center line because he has been, up until this point in his career, it's just always going straight back. And also, the tendency when Izzy pulls, and this is a really dangerous tendency, y'all, super dangerous. The tendency when Izzy pulls is he will allow his head to go behind his hips. When you allow your head to go behind your hips and you do not take your feet with you such that your head is still on top of your hips, this is poor footwork. Okay? A lot of people think of poor footwork as just, crossing your feet when you're not supposed to, or clicking your feet together, tap dancing is what I call my students. It's much more than that. Okay? You can do something with your upper body that can still have you in poor footwork. What do I mean? If you are not in a good athletic posture with your head and your shoulders above your hips, or at some point being enclosed by both feet, if I'm dipping my head in, when I don't mean to, by the way, if I mean to dip my head into a position that goes past my feet or past my hips, that's okay because I understand the risks and I am taking that risk. And I understand how to exit out of that position. But if you are doing so reactively and you have no choice and your head goes behind your hips or behind your feet, Now this is a poor position. And in the I believe it's the long form study, so that's just for the members only. I talk about the A Silva pull. And the A Silva pull is a real danger for Izzy because he tends to neutral his tits up. So right here, my tits are facing off in this direction. So I can pull and I can get quite a bit of distance going back on my pull because I'm essentially just lunging on my rear leg. If have my tits facing you guys and I pull, now that's like a yoga back bend for me, right? And I can't, if I'm doing that, there's a finite end to how far I can pull back. If you guys wonder, why do I call this the A Silva pull? Watch A Silva versus Chris Weidman. How did he get knocked out? He hit a pull with his tits neutral. Now, if you're swagging on the dude and you know that he definitely don't have no chance to clip you, all right, I'm not saying you can't pull like that. However, A Silva was swagging on Chris Weidman and look what happened, okay? Now, Izzy has a dangerous tendency to hit that A Silva pull, tits neutral up and pulling straight back. So one, you got to train them titties to do the right thing. You got to blade off them titties. Pardon my language, y'all. I'll be trying to keep it as family friendly. But titties is the one thing. I say titties all the time. And why? Let me just talk about this real fast. I promise I'll get back to work. When I was teaching a new student how to rotate on their right hand, I would say, turn your shoulders, turn your core, blah, blah, blah. And they couldn't understand. And I was like, yo, you got them Dolly Parton tassel joints on your titties. And I told him, point both of them tassels off in this direction. And because I told him that, he had two finite points that he knew had to be facing in that direction. And the next rep, he hit it perfectly. So that's why I be saying that. And I wound up having a ton of success with it. So if you guys hear me saying that, that's why. Now, you got to train them titties to stay bladed. And oftentimes, this neutral up A Silva pull is coming out of that desperation because there are no other options for Izzy. This is what's so important. So give the man another option. From the pull, if you have the ops, now there's a little bit more incentive to stay bladed. And if you can train pull to ops, now not only are you able to create a lot more distance, but you're in a little bit of a lower position, especially because they have, and this is important, y'all. I started from here. You pulled this lead arm down. If I go into the ops from there, that pulled down lead arm, not only am I in a lower position if they try to shoot on me, but if they do try to shoot on me, you already pulled this arm down. That means it's a little easier for me to get the underhook with that pulled down arm. This is one of the things, guys, that, again, when you are going back to the drawing board, if you will, right? So, and look, everyone got to do it, right? This is why it's not a knock on Izzy. Joe Pyfer has had to go back to the drawing board. Sean Strickland has had to go back to the drawing board. DDP, back to the drawing board. And literally everyone. But these are the things that you got to troubleshoot and see, okay, well, where do we go from here? How can we take what is in the existing part of your game, and perhaps we can't change every element of it, but can we add to it to give you some more options, okay? So oftentimes, you can simply add to it, and then just having that extra option will possibly, and again, it depends on the case, on the specific scenario, the specific athlete, but sometimes if you just give them the option, like, dogs, if you pull, you can dip your head down. Now, some of y'all might be saying, like, yo, okay, but then the head kick is there. The knee is there. Yeah, that's why I started by saying, listen, don't just think because you are in MMA and head kicks and knees are available that you have to completely shut off a specific technique. Because technically, yeah, in that ops position, you are dipping into certain things. This is why when you train a new position that you're hopefully trying to get into, add into somebody's DNA, you have to have your athlete expect, okay, I'm going into trouble right here. So I need to make sure when I ops, even if this hand isn't up, this hand is at least active and able to see and predict some smoke coming as I dip down into that position. And then lastly, not staying there, okay? You can't just ops and then post up and then eventually, expect the opponent to not eventually pick up on it. When you ops, you have to do something from there. And I heard this in a Gordon Ryan instructional, and it's been something that has like stuck with me. And so I sometimes spam this when I'm teaching, and I don't care because it's such a beautiful, useful way of thinking of things. But he is teaching a jiu-jitsu instructional, and he's teaching an instructional on guard retention. And he says, when someone tries to pass your guard, it's not enough to just recover your guard. You have to immediately turn that into an attack. Now, I say that to say, from the ops position, that's a defensive cycle. So he says that meaning you have to go from a defensive cycle to an offensive cycle. Otherwise, they're just going to keep trying to attack. In the same way, ops is a defensive cycle technique. He has to immediately go offensive with it. So what do I mean by that? You can ops body shot. You can ops clinch. You can ops circle out and then look for more smoke, et cetera, and so forth. So there's always different ways that you can play that ops position. But if you just kind of hang out there, eventually they're going to take advantage of it. So you have to establish some sort of threat to immediately force that opponent to get defensive. Let's see. Anything else? Guys, do y'all have any questions? If you have any questions, throw that in the chat. Trying to think of what else with Izzy's game. And again, guys, I would say that my favorite part of the past two studies, and I kind of split this specific topic over the two studies because there was just so much good work. Excuse me. I got to get my medicine, y'all. There was so much good work. My favorite part was how Joe Pyfer dealt with the long guard. And the dealing with the long guard was something that really messed with Izzy's game. And again, I highly recommend you guys check that out. The video segments can do a lot better job than I could, but just simply touching both gloves of the long guard. Joe built an entire system on just touching both of Izzy's long guard gloves. And it was so beautiful because it rendered Izzy's left glove, or his lead glove, dang near useless. And he had so many varied attacks. He had takedowns off of it. He had body shots off of it. He had straight line attacks to the head off of it. He had dirty boxing off of it. Tons of great work from Joe Pyfer, all just attacking that long guard of Izzy's. So these, and again, that's what I break down. I think forgive me, I think it's like dang near 55 minutes of studies just on the Izzy and Pyfer fight. Again, most of that is on the Patreon, which you can peep in the link below, but I have clipped a couple of free versions here on YouTube as well. But that system there, I swear, if you guys, when I am dictator of the world, I am going to make it a legal requirement that anyone under 5'10", 5'11", I'm a gracious dictator. It is a legal requirement that you have to watch those two studies. It's a legal requirement. I don't care if you don't even do martial arts. You have to watch those two studies because it was such a beautiful way of breaking down a tall man's most used tool, which is some sort of, I don't even necessarily call it the long guard, but just some sort of extension of that lead glove. If you can get past that lead glove, you got a much easier night. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. This was my first one. I thank you guys for the patience because, again, like I said, I'm still getting used to this technology. Instagram.com boring breakdowns, or just at boring breakdowns on Instagram, at boring breakdowns on TikTok, and obviously here on YouTube. But if you guys would like to support the work that I'm doing, if you guys would like to see more of the long form work and get full access to all of the study series that we have worked on, so far we've covered Yuki Yoza, Masaaki Noiri, Tawan Chai. We're going to be working on one with Danny Rodriguez in Muay Thai. Covered Fyodor Emelianenko, some boxers, Dalton Smith versus Subriel Matias, some of the good work that Dalton Smith used in shutting down someone. He was the underdog too. And how did this underdog shut down such an aggressive fighter's game? We talk a lot about dealing with aggressive guys, dealing with tall guy game, okay? Hence this Izzy work right here. I try to formulate this stuff so it can tackle certain topics that we all go through. Obviously, this stuff is meant for education from an athlete and a coach's perspective. But if you guys are just big fans of the technical part of the game and you guys are not part of Gen Pop, look, Gen Pop won't like this work. That's why it's called boring breakdowns. Gen Pop is not about it. Gen Pop is concerned with, yo, he was really disrespectful at the weigh-in. He shoved, blah, blah. I don't care, son. I don't care. That's not my problem. You know what I mean? I don't care if Alex Pereira doing that little arrow joint and he got the Indian joint on that headdress. It's not my problem. I don't care if Izzy got that, that anime joint going. That's not my problem. I don't care about that. I am much more concerned. Yo, why did he touch that lead glove before he threw the 3-4? And why did he level change? What did that level change do to get my son backing up this way? That's what we are concerned with. If you are concerned with that type of work, if you like this type of work and you would like to support, please peep the link in the description below, patreon.com/boring breakdowns. We have free memberships as well. And guys, lastly, and this is so underrated, is criminally underrated, telling the homies about this work, whether it's sharing it on social media or if you guys see the homies in the gym and you see them struggling with a certain issue, yo, maybe they're struggling with how do you deal with that long guard, son? I'm getting taxed because I'm going with someone that's 6 foot plus and they just keeping me at the end of that long guard and I can't do nothing about it. Yo, my son right here put some work out on how Joe Pyfer dealt with that long guard of Izzy, and Joe Pyfer shut his game down off that long guard. Here it is. That is such a game changer. And listen, y'all, I'm gonna be honest with you. I say this all the time. I'm mad booty at social media. I'm mad booty at marketing. This is like all I'm good at. And so when you guys do things like that, that's such a big help for me. And I hope that I can repay that. You know what I mean? I hope that this type of work is a repayment for you guys, because real talk, salutes to y'all. I just got a DM several days ago from a coach that was putting his students onto this work, and one of his students wound up hitting my Patreon on, and that's such a big help. And also, on a more personal note, this is the stuff that helps me feed my kids. I got 2 wonderful little crackhead bursts of energy, 2 little girls, 3 in 1, and this stuff, I put this stuff out there to put food on their table. So that's the personal note. But for you guys, I hope that this work is helpful, and I hope you guys learned something today. If you guys like this work, shoot me a DM on any one of the socials, and just be like, yo, that was a dope live. I want to see more of it, and I will do a little bit more on the YouTube. And thank you again for the patience. I swear it'll get better. It'll get a little bit smoother as I get the hang of this. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will catch up with y'all on the next one.